All right. This is yet another episode of Torin Talks and so can Drew. And we're going to have ourselves a technology themed kind of shindig this time.
Yeah, it's going to be a two-parter. So the first part we're going to talk about is going to be dealing with gaming.
And the second part is going to be talking about how we kind of let technology into our lives to a point where we don't even control it anymore. And we'll expand on that a little bit. We'll just dive into the technology and gaming and how that's kind of been affecting things lately. And what I mean by that is how basically, if a company really wants to, they can make a game that's not completely finished or polished and then patch it later, which is good and bad for obvious reasons. It's obviously shitty because it's like, oh, I can make this game and we don't have to worry about it. We can just fix it later. But at the same time, it's like there are some people that do put a lot of effort into games, and you can't completely make a game perfect the first try around. So at least when you make it as close to perfect as possible, and then people play it and they find bugs that you didn't find before, at least that can be
Yeah.
patched. When before it was like, fuck, I guess that's just in this game now.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that you can go in and patch things that are messed up. But the thing that I don't like about it is, I guess it's just this now compared to when I first started gaming. Like, when you bought a game, you bought the damn game. You didn't
Yeah,
buy
yeah,
50 parts to the game.
that's it.
Like, the game was the game. And now I like the fact that they can just keep adding on to games because once you played the game back in the day, it was over. That was it. No more game.
Yeah.
But now your story can kind of continue, which I like. But I don't like the
Mhm.
fact that you're basically selling me half a game for $60, and then I gotta buy the other half for another X amount of dollars. Like, I think that's cheap, and I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
I get why they're doing it because they make more money this way. Because once they got that $160 out of you, you were done. Or 40 or how much ever it was. Like, once they got that initial payment out of you, you were done.
Yeah.
Now they can just
Well,
drag it out with all these add-ons and shit, and the game's like sucking balls.
yeah.
Like, you're gonna make me pay all this money for something that doesn't work. Like, I don't get it.
It's just a shitty situation because I mean it works.
Yeah.
That's the thing that sucks. It works is they wouldn't be doing this if it didn't make
Yeah.
money. Yeah, it just kind of sucks because like I kind of miss the old days. Like I really liked it back old school Blizzard, where basically they took a long ass time to make a
Yeah.
game, and then that they came out with a super posh product. Now, granted, they still fixed things. Like StarCraft One was kind of one of those first games where it continually got patched for years and years. But I mean, still, they still worked on that motherfucker for the longest
Yeah.
time. It's one of those games they clearly played it themselves and made sure
Yeah.
that it worked.
Yeah, that's
Um,
like one big pet peeve for me. If I buy a game, and I play it, and it's like, did anybody even beta test this shit? Like,
yeah, exactly,
that just
exactly.
makes me so mad. And I just feel like in this day and age, there's almost no excuse for it.
No, there really isn't.
So it's just that's the kind of the evolution. Another thing that comes with like evolving, like the customer has evolved too. And it's like, you can't sell me this crappy shitty game that no one tested. It has all these glitches and my character's like falling off the side of the world, and you expect me to pay for this? No, I'm not paying for this. Did you ever play Laura Croft Angel of Darkness?
No, I never really got to play the Lara Croft games, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
so she in the first ones, I mean, they were old school, but they were fun. But this was the glitchiest game. That game and the Matrix game, like, so glitchy, like that. But in the Matrix, it was funny because you could just be like, yeah, it was a glitch in the Matrix. Like, we just laughed it off and made it part of like playing the game because it
Yeah,
just fit with the theme.
it's kind of like when they make a shitty movie, and that's what kind of makes the movie good.
Like Sharknado,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like that. It's like that movie is so horrible. I love it. It's so awesome. It's perfect. Like, that movie sucks so fucking bad that it's gold. Like, whoever thought of that is a genius because it's awful. But this wasn't like that. This was supposed to be good, and it's like, this chick, she falls off the side of the building, and she's flopping all around like a damn jellyfish, and it's just like, really, like, come on. And it's like, the
They got
timing was off.
game.
Like when you jump on games, and her timing was way off, so you die like all the time, and it made the game not even fun because you die so much, you know, you didn't even want to keep playing. It's like, why am I playing this? Like, it's stupid.
That sounds like a fucking
Yeah,
mess.
no, it was horrible. Like, it's one of those games where you go, I spent money on this. Yeah, there's like, I can't think of any game recently that I played that I was just super bummed about. Um, yeah, no, what was the name of that game? Do you know the name of that game? It came out recently, and it's the one where it's on, I think it's on PlayStation, or it might be on Wii U. I don't remember. Anyway, where you have the guy and he's like in the SS and he's trying to spy on them, and everybody starts turning into like these fucked up zombies. It's like the zombie mode
no,
on Call of Duty, but like a whole game.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that one. It was good, but it was kind of short, and
Hmm.
the the levels to me weren't. I guess, but the game's like super cheap, so I guess you can't really complain if the game's like not that expensive.
Yeah, that is true.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's been some games that are like some obscure little gems that are pretty good, but yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Sometimes that's what makes games fun nowadays is when they're simple because sometimes it just feels like games are too like shove as much
yes.
shit as you possibly can sometimes like I was one of those kids where I never got to play it on the NES but I played Super Mario Brothers and that was the beauty of that game was that it was so simplistic like of course there are secrets you can
Yeah.
get but still like it's just that's what made it so fun was that you know you could go and it wasn't like it wasn't like stupid like I think some people kind of shit on simplistic games now because they feel like
Dumb.
it's yeah like they feel like it's dumbed down and everything but I mean you still had to like think about it and you still had to think to find those
Yeah, you
secrets but it's
did.
just the formula because like yeah I think a good example is I don't know if you've ever played COD 4 and Modern Warfare
Yeah.
2 and I'm mainly referring to the multiplayer is COD 4 multiplayer wise was so much more simpler than Modern Warfare 2 but almost equally as complex because I
Yeah.
mean the formula was as simple as it could get for the most part when it came to multiplayer shooting everybody in the face. But there was still a lot of tactics behind it and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. There was still some intricacy. And a lot of people don't get that. They just kind of think more shit is in this game, so that means it's better. One of the things that's also affecting it is the free to play
Yeah.
model. You can play for free, but it takes so fucking long to get anything to where it's almost worth it to pay.
I hate those games.
I think League of Legends does it fairly well in the sense that like
Yeah.
there's so many different characters and stuff that it'd be you literally couldn't buy them all. But at the same time, it does
Yeah.
kind of take a little bit to get enough in-game currency, like playing for free and buying things for free, getting it through the in-game currency, to where it's almost worth it to do it that way because then you're getting experience. You're still playing the game and experiencing how to play it better.
But yeah, but I would rather them do have an option to where it's like if you don't want to deal with this fuckery, you can
Yeah,
pay this amount and it be more. I would have no
yeah.
problem with that. For the ultimate upgrade, you just pay one set price and you get all this stuff and that's what you get. That's fine. But I hate those games. Like I'm playing, or I was playing like this Game of Thrones one where you
Hmm.
start your own house, which is cool. But like all the equipment and stuff, like for a little helmet, it's this much. This, you know, like each armor piece does a different thing. Like it gives you a different boost, but it costs like X amount of dollars, and that's where they're
Yeah,
sucking the money out of you from. So I don't
yeah.
like that. So I had to leave that game alone because I got to a point where I'm kind of stuck because my person is not leveled up enough to like get past this one part. But I'm not shelling out any more money.
I don't think free to play isn't necessarily a bad thing in the sense that as long as like the game is still fun if you choose to opt out of buying those extra things. Because I don't
Exactly.
like it when it's like people have such a huge advantage over you that paid for certain parts of the game. It's like I feel like paying for
Yeah.
the game should be like more to make the experience a little bit better as opposed to like making you just wreck shit against everybody else.
Yeah. That's how I feel too. I feel like if you want to pay to play, like you can, you still should be able to go through the game at a pretty good level without having to spend all that extra money, and
I,
that's
I
what they
think what
don't
kind of
do.
like perpetuates this problem is the fact that gaming, because it's so profitable, is starting to become more of a business than a work of art like it used to before. Because I mean, now it's kind of like
Yeah.
they have these corporate pencil pusher assholes that kind of
Mhm.
bully the creative team to meet deadlines and do certain things. Where, like, the gaming companies basically are looked at as numbers now by a lot of people, a lot of
Mhm.
corporate executives. We're getting a lot more shit now because
Yeah.
of those things where the game is seen more as a money making tool than the actual work of art to be experienced by people. And I
Yeah.
feel like Blizzard is definitely one of the better companies when it comes to dealing with this
Mhm.
because obviously the fact that they keep shorting World of Warcrafts a billion times kind of shows this. At the
Yeah.
same time, the fact that so many people play it must mean that I'm not a big World of Warcraft fan, but the fact that so many people play it, I think it means there's some at least creative
Yeah.
and quality put into it.
I can't do any game, and I don't know if this is just because it's my old school. Like, I can't do any game where I can't move the character. Like, if I can't physically make my character fight, if I'm supposed to be fighting, like the hit point, I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
It throws me out of the game, and I just feel like I'm pushing buttons rather than if I'm controlling a character. I feel like I'm in the game, like I'm experiencing the game. So I guess I feel like I'm more a gamer when I get to control the character rather than I'm watching someone else do something. Because if I want to watch someone else do something, I'll go watch TV. Like like I play games because I
Yeah.
want to do the action.
That's actually funny that you say that. You've heard of Game Theories, that channel, right? Where they also
Yeah.
talked about movies based on video games suck is because I mean the whole point of a video game is that it's an interactive experience. So of course the movies are
Mm-hmm.
most likely going to suck because the thing that made it so great, it being interactive, is now taken away from you, and now you're just kind of a passive
Mm-hmm.
uh, watcher of it. I thought that was a really good point on their part.
Yeah, that is really true. But also, I feel like the reason why a lot of those movies fail is because they don't even take the premise. Like, I'll give you an example. Resident Evil. Even though that franchise made like a bunch of money, I hate
Yeah,
that franchise. They took all the things that were cool about Resident Evil and took a
yeah,
dump on them and put it on a movie screen. Because it's like if they just want to use a character who's kind of like a spy and she got all these badass power moves and she freaking just goes in and out and wears a red dress, why didn't they just
Ada.
use freaking yeah, why did you do fucking Ada Wong from the
Yeah,
franchise? Like, you didn't even have to create a character. That character was literally in the
yeah.
story
Well,
already.
I
Like,
think it. I
that
think
blew
that
my
kind of
mind.
like proves the point even more that I was making before of the video games, the whole merge of the video games and movie company being product of that whole. This is a thing we need to sell. Like the whole capitalism idea of we need to produce things that people will consume, and it's kind of like taking the humanity of it. It's like making. It's
Mm-hmm.
like going up to Van Gogh and being like, make all we're paying you to make all these paintings. Come on, keep going. Let's mass produce this shit. And it's like it's art. That's
Yeah.
you're missing the point. That's why the movies
It's
suck. You're
gonna
missing
take.
the whole point of a movie, of it being art, of it
Yeah.
being an enjoyable experience. It's not like a
Mm-hmm.
fucking candy or food or anything like that where you just want to churn it out and people consume it. You're losing what makes entertainment human by this whole,
Yeah.
like I said, just business oriented idea around video games.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like games that have a organic feel to them and they kind of like the story just develop. That's why I think I really can't get into the whole Call of
Yeah.
Duty thing because when they first came out, they were really cool because they were like, these wars that nobody that was like alive playing video games definitely experienced. And the people that probably went through it, they weren't playing video games because they're
Yeah.
old as hell. So, it was really cool to see this world in this time because that's something that nobody really was doing in video games at the time. So it was cool and innovative and interesting. But then it's like, oh, every year we got to turn out a fucking Call of Duty. It's kind of like the sports games. That's why they had to go back and retool a bunch of them, and they started all fucking
Yeah.
sucking because, like, okay, you turn out Madden
Yeah.
every year. What really changes besides the roster? Nothing. You could just take one Madden, update the
And
roster.
graphics.
Yeah, why am I paying this much money for the same thing? And then some of those years, the graphics between one year and the other really weren't that
Yeah.
deep. Another game that's guilty of that are the wrestling
Oh yeah.
games
Most
Like No
games are like,
Mercy for Nintendo 64 was the best wrestling game of all time. I don't care what anybody says. Like that game is still legit. Like that game is still legit now. Even in 2015, I will play that game. And these other wrestling games I've played, and I've played damn it pretty much everyone since then, none of them still add up to that game, because that game was just fun. Like they let you customize everything, and that's another thing they take out of games now. Either they put too much customization in, or they don't put enough. I had a problem with
oh
Oblivion.
yeah,
Like, two of my friends got that game. We were all super excited to play it. We, like, created our own character. Like, that's, like, a really big part of gaming for us, when you can either create your character, or your character's kind of, like, cool already. So, you know, we're trying to create the character. You don't even see the character. It's freaking first
yeah.
person. Why am I spending 30 minutes creating a character that I'm never going to see? It didn't catch my interest. Like, even Halo, like, I never really was good at Halo or play, but I like watching other
Mm-hmm.
people play, because it was interesting. Like, the story was
Yeah.
interesting. It's like, okay, these dudes are doing this. This is cool. But that game, I was like, yeah, we were just like, okay, I'm over it. Like, the trailer for Oblivion looked really cool. Or, like, the demo they had on their website before it came
Okay.
out. It looked really, I was like, oh, I want to play that. Like, yeah, so, but, yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
like it.
I actually, for me personally, customizing your character in detail actually takes the experience out of it for me, because it just
For
seems so
you?
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just feels distracting. I feel like for me personally, playing the game is what's fun. It's like, how the fuck is like picking out outfits fun? How is this supposed to change my
That is
experience
fun.
drastically? That the whole fun of Oblivion was going out and doing quests and killing shit and finding secrets. Why the fuck do I have to sit through this whole thing where I have to pick which
Yeah.
fucking wristbands my character wants? Like it just seems
But that's the
distracting.
thing. That's the reason why I didn't understand it for that game, because it didn't
Yeah,
add anything. It didn't make a
just
difference.
pointless.
It didn't make a difference, and that's why it was irritating in that game. You know, that's why I was saying, like, in Oblivion, I feel like they didn't need that part of the game, because you didn't, like I said, you didn't see the
Yeah,
person anyway, and it didn't really make a difference. So what was the point of
yeah,
having that in there? But I also wanted to get your thoughts on uh the games that kind of, they're like, we were talking about simple games, but they work and business. They kind of like two games, even though this isn't a video game, but the guys or the developers that do Cards Against
yeah,
Humanity, they leave their template up for
yeah.
free. So I don't know if they're skirting the system, or, you know, bucking the system by doing that, or they're like, we just want people to play this and it's fun. Like, we, you know, we're not trying to hold on to this for profit. And that dude that made the Flappy Birds game that everybody was like losing their shit over, and then he kind of like quit because it was too much, and he's like, I can't deal with this shit. Like, fuck this game.
I can't deal with these millions of
So
dollars they keep throwing at me.
yeah, I
I know it's
don't.
probably more complicated than that, so I kid, but
But I mean, no, like, that would not be a problem for me. Let's just say
um,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would play
Well,
that.
about the Cards Against Humanity thing, I mean, part of what makes games for free, like I don't know, I've never played it for free. I did buy the cards, um, but I mean, a lot of games when they're free to play end up making a lot of ad revenue. So I'm not sure if that's their
Mm-hmm.
ploy, but if they make no ad revenue for having it for free, it is free advertisement in the sense that I could see somebody playing it on the computer and going, I want to bring some friends over and be in person with this, and
Mm-hmm.
then want to buy some of the cards. So I could see that being, in a way, kind of like how the same way how technically putting free music out is bad, but at the same time, it helps promote the band and promotes ticket sales. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it kind of works in that same way, is that if you're giving something away for free, at least you're advertising it. You're putting it out there that this
Mm-hmm.
is quality. So if you want to pay for it, you're gonna like what you
Oh,
pay for. I
okay.
can
Yeah,
understand
I
that
get that.
aspect of it, and I think the people behind Cards Against Humanity are fucking geniuses. And one of the reasons is I remember around Christmas time, they basically had it to where you can send bullshit to people's houses. They send
Yes.
bullshit, and they sold out. They're just fucking
Yeah, no.
geniuses. Like, I mean, it's so. I bet
Yeah.
they make a ton of money because they're just so
Yeah.
clever with their games. Like, that sounds so dumb to sell bullshit, but it worked.
But
It's
it worked, like you
hilarious.
said. They were sold out. Yeah, I think it's
So I think they
hilarious.
know what they're doing.
I would laugh.
I think they know what they're doing in terms of their business. So,
Well, what do you think about the Flappy Birds dude? And, his whole deal.
well, I mean, first off, what makes me laugh about it is that it's clearly knocked off as a cheap, yeah,
Mario.
Mario, but it's one of those games that's so fucking popular because anybody can play it, young, old. It's the most simple concept, but intricate in the sense that it's hard to master.
Yeah, like when I
It's
played
hard.
it, because someone had it, and I said, "Oh, let me see," and I did it like 3 times. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Here, take this. I'm
yeah.
over it. Like, I can't right now."
I think part of it too, because how I played it is I ended up working at this convenience store for a little bit, and the girl I was working with,
Quick Trip.
no, it was the C store. Um,
What's that?
yeah,
Oh, dumb bitch.
at the school that you went to for numerous years.
Wow. All right. I'm smart.
Anyways, um,
Holy
how
shit.
I
I
even
can't
played it
believe I
because
just
I
said
never
that.
downloaded it is this girl that I was working with was like, "Oh, you want to play it?" And she just got a kick out of watching me like get so pissed off at it because of how hard it was. So that's kind of what made it popular
Yeah.
too. Like it was just an easily shareable game. Hey, play this for a second, and you play it for 5 seconds, you're already like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was immensely clever in almost every
Mhm.
way in the sense that anybody could pick up and play it. People want other people to play it to get their reaction, and it was easy to make because it was
Yeah.
so simple and it stole the design. So, I mean, that guy's kind of a
Yeah.
genius in a weird way.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I know that's just, and it was like at the height of the fame. He was just like, yeah,
Yeah,
no, I'm done with
I'm
this
sure there
shit.
is some sort of details that came out, but I didn't really care enough.
Oh no, I just thought it was hilarious. I was just like, that dude he just walked away from like millions. He's like, yeah, I'm over this. Like, yeah, see. But then like all these knockoffs came out, so I thought that was pretty funny. And then it kind of like faded out. So I don't know what people are like, what the new craze is. Because before that it was like that Candy Crush,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, and so then it was that game. So I don't know. I guess that's for people that don't really play
yeah.
console games too
Well,
much. It's just
it's def-
you're sitting in the doctor's office and you're like, okay,
yeah. Mobile gaming has definitely done a lot to like make gaming more of a universal thing for all types of people. Because
yeah.
anybody can basically mobile game as long as you have hands and a phone.
It's funny because now kids like they're mobile gaming at like 3 and 4 years old, and it's like, yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
When I was 4 years old, like I was tying my
yeah.
shoes and
You
shit.
know what
So
a mobile game
it's
was? When you picked up the checkerboard and moved it someplace else.
yeah.
It's about as close as we got
you
to mobile
rage,
gaming when I was like young.
you rage when you rage through your controller across the screen. That was
Yeah.
mobile gaming.
And even then, when I had a Game Boy, it fucking sucks sometimes because you're over there at night in a road trip and you can't see what the fuck you're looking at because Game Boys didn't have lights back then.
I still think like they make good games now and fun games now. Like the last couple of games that I really liked, or like I said, I like the Uncharted series. So that anytime they come out with a new game, I'm always interested to see. Bayonetta, that was really fun. Left for Dead, that was cool. I really like that series, and I can't. Why are they not making like a Left for Dead 3? Like
Yeah,
I don't understand. Even though the second one wasn't as good as the first one, but I think that's just because I like the people in the
yeah,
first one a little
yeah,
better. Because it's, I mean, yeah, like the first one was gold, and it was like but nobody ever wanted to be like Lewis because Lewis was always fucking up. Like if you're Lewis, like you're gonna fuck up. Like you're gonna trigger a tank, like you're gonna do something. For some reason, Lewis is just like bad luck Brian. I don't know.
yeah.
He's always like, it's like, God damn it, Lewis. And Bill always died on my squad for some reason. Like Bill, I don't know. Bill was just like, even though he dies in like 2.5 or something like that, Bill dies.
Yeah, I
So
heard
that was
about
kind of
that.
dope.
I have Left 4 Dead 2. I never got any expansions or like added on content from that, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I actually never really owned the first one. I would play it at my friend's house every now and then. But yeah, Left 4 Dead's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
the problem with it though is because it's the same. Like when you play it, I like to play it, but I can't do it for extended periods of time because it's like I'm just been shooting zombies the same thing.
That was like my That was like my favorite thing to like come and like that and Uncharted when you play online. 3, when they came out with Uncharted 3 and the multiplayer, like you were saying, like when they try to make multiplayers more advanced and that just ends up like
Yeah.
fucking them up. That's basically what happened to that game. Like that game multiplayer is not as fun as part 2, but I think that's because people used to manipulate stuff on part 2. Because on part 2, like if you are running around, like he had this little punch where you could just run out and just punch somebody in the fucking head, and like you just knock them out, and that you get the point. So on the new game, it took like 3 punches to like knock a bitch out, and it's like, really, why? Like, no,
Uh,
I
that
appreciate
reminds
those
me
games.
of like Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Oh, not Brawl. Sorry, Melee,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
you can do this technique, which is technically not supposed to be in the game, called wave dashing, where you're basically
Mm-hmm.
like you push the jump button and then you automatically push the dodge button. Uh, so like you kind of like your character kind of like slides a little bit really quickly. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily
Yeah.
dodging, but it's just moving very quickly. So you can do a combo, then move back, then come back in after they're done fighting. It makes things
Yeah.
way faster, and I feel like that's a huge part of like melee competitive play is still a thing now. That's a huge part of competitive play is if you don't know how to wave dash, you're fucked. Like even the most noobiest of
Yeah.
noobs in competitive melee know how to wave dash, and nowadays. If that shit popped up on a fucking game Nintendo made, they would have patched the fuck out of it the day they found out about it. Like melee people, because that's why people don't. A lot of the melee hardcore people don't like Brawl or Smash 4 as much, is
Mm-hmm.
because they got rid of that
Took all that
basically,
out.
because that's basically what separates the noobs from the champs in melee, where you just fucking
Mm-hmm.
wreck. If you're a pro in melee and you're going against somebody that was a casual player, you just fucking destroy them. And it's still kind of like that in Brawl and Smash 4, but at the same time, like they can still get a few lucky hits off you. But yeah, it just makes me
Oh,
laugh thinking
that's
about that. Like wave dashing would not cut it today. Nintendo would not be having that.
well, like a lot of things they used to get away with, like back in games, like you just couldn't do now. Only be either be I don't know if it's because like the players have gotten used to everything. It's kind of like that scary movie trope. Like when scary movies first came out, they were really scary and really cool because people hadn't
Yeah,
seen it. But like this generation, it's like I've seen every vampire
yeah,
zombie, known to man. Like you're really gonna have to come with something new and different to kind of get one over on me in
mhm.
that realm. So I think it's kind of the same thing. Even though I went to see Insidious 3 the other day and I was not expecting this bitch to get hit by a car, and I said like, "Oh shit," really loud in the theater because I just wasn't expecting it because she's like the main character and she just gets hit by a fucking car and like she's in a wheelchair. Like I shit you not, like she just gets like bopped by this fucking car. I was like, "Oh
You
wow."
wow,
So
you guys
yeah.
just can't shut up during movies, kid. Just kidding.
I know. I tried not to be that person.
White people do that
So
too.
like I really
I
do.
I actually was watching a movie with a girlfriend at the time who was super white, and it was actually a trailer for a scary movie. And then the person like jumped out and then scared somebody, and then there was that silence in the trailer where it was like silent after the scare, and then it.
Yeah.
But during the
Something else
silence,
pops out.
my girlfriend at the time was like, "What?" So that made me just laughing my ass off during the rest of the trailer because I'm like, that was perfect.
Yeah, I tried not to be that person, but yeah, that I mean, like I didn't even. It was one of those things. It was super knee jerk. Like it flew out of my mouth before I even noticed, and like everybody in the theater just started dying laughing. And I was just telling my friends, I was like, yeah, that's why you shouldn't bring me to the movies after I had like 2 glasses of wine, because yeah, because like I said, I was not expecting to say
Yeah,
oh shit in the theater, but it just shut. Like she got like I mean, when I tell you that car came out of fucking nowhere, it was like that's just like me. You have a conversation and a car just comes like through my like and hits me. You'd be like, what the fuck?
so what do you want to talk about
So
next week?
yeah,
Through the
pretty
fucking
much. It
window.
was pretty, pretty. It was pretty much like that. So
It's
yeah.
fun. What do you think in terms of like video game companies? What company do you think is the most like high quality and don't sell out the most? Because every company kind of sells out now to some extent. What company do you think, in your opinion, is good about that?
Ubisoft used to be really good, but then they it's like they got caught up in their own hype and they just fucked up. Like when Assassin's Creed came out, the first one, and like the first, I think two, but then they started cranking them out too fast, in my opinion, and I don't like that. I don't like when, like I said, games are just churned out just because they want to make a
They kind
profit.
of got greedy and drunk on success,
Yeah,
so it kind of spawned the best things.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I didn't like about it because they just burned me out on the franchise, and it's like they could have told so like that's a good like okay this dude can basically travel in time and be anybody during any era because he has an ancestor in that era. Like the storytelling, the world building you could do is infinite, and they just churn through it so quick. I would have loved to see a modern day
That would be
Assassin's Creed.
crazy. I almost feel like that would play very similar to Splinter Cell, though.
No, I don't think he'd be booping around like that. Like, oh, that game used to piss me off. But anyway, I don't think he'd be running around like Sam Fisher, like in the dark. I think he'd have to do it in plain sight. Like if he was in a city like New York,
That'd be crazy.
where it's like super crowded or Tokyo or somewhere, like I think you could do it in that city because you can just get
That's true.
lost in crowds and stuff. And they're big enough to where they have a whole bunch of streets and alleys and backways. So I mean, I would appreciate something like that. At least if you're gonna keep cranking out of again franchise, give me something I haven't seen
Yeah,
before.
I could see that being a good idea.
So, because they stayed in Italy, I think too long
Yeah,
with the franchise. Like they were there way too damn long. Like they could have went anywhere else around the world. And two, I would have also appreciated if they had. I mean, I know in some of the little side mission they had female characters, and I wish one of the main protagonists, like one of his main ancestors, would have been
yeah,
female. Like you got to play like a whole game with like a badass female
yeah.
assassin. That
That'd be
would have
pretty
been
cool.
cool. Another thing I didn't like about that was that I felt like it ended on a cliffhanger. One of them, I think it was the second one, ended on a cliffhanger where he like gut checks the bitch, and you don't. Then in the next movie, or next game, they're like, oh yeah, that bitch died. It's like really, like, and nobody's gonna care about. Nobody cares about her.
Yeah,
Nobody's gonna get
like
revenge. He just guts this bitch,
like
and it's cool.
it's hard to care about somebody when the people in the world don't care about it.
Yeah, and then it turns out she was like a Templar all along, and I'm like, that don't make fucking sense because if the bitch was a Templar all along, why she didn't just slit his fucking throat in the Animus and just be done with it? Like, why even help him? Like, I don't get what the fuck was the
Yeah,
point of that because he was in love with her. All she had to do was like, give him some, and he would have told her everything she wanted to know. Like, it was no need for all that fucking charade if she was just gonna be on the evil side. Like, I felt like that was just a cop out. Like, oh, we didn't know what to do with the storyline, and why did he kill that bitch? Let's just make her evil. So then the fucking gut check makes sense because other than that, it didn't make any sense. And then the whole storyline got convoluted because it's like, really, it's these guys that are playing a game, and it's all this shit, and it's like, why couldn't it just been this secret society of like fuckheads trying to take over the world? I could get behind that story. Like when you're trying to go like all theological on my ass, it's like okay, like am I in theology class or am I trying to play a fucking video game? Like I appreciate you trying to be deep, but I just want to jump off roofs and like stab people with my little hidden blade. Like I don't have time to think
you
about all
should
this
do
fuckery.
like
So
a Thug Notes version of game summaries. You guys who don't know who
I
Thug
know,
Notes
right?
is, you should totally check that out. Summaries of like really classic literary works like Romeo and Juliet, Brave New World.
He just street slang vernacular, but talking about like classical literature. And I mean, I'd be so about that. That'd be funny. I should do a Game of Thrones,
Oh,
like my last
that
Game of
would be
Thrones episode.
amazing.
Kind of like that, yeah. Like, and that bitch, fucking Arya, no. But that would be pretty funty. I guess I just went on my little rant because I love that franchise, and then they just
Yeah, it
ruined
is
it
kind
for
of
me.
to the ground. Well,
So that game company, thumbs
so what
down.
game company
Like,
does give you a thumbs up? I'm impressed with Blizzard lately. I think
yeah. What are they doing lately? What have they been doing?
Hearthstone is kind of that free to play model, but it seems like they
Mm-hmm.
do that I need to play that. Now, I admit it, I've never played it. I just basing this, idea about it based on my friends that play it. So it seems like they
Yeah.
seem to put some high quality into that. And I played Heroes of the Storm, and that's pretty fun if you're into the whole MOBA. It's definitely a different take on it, and I could definitely see not necessarily like
Mm-hmm.
wanting to shell out a lot of money on that and still being able to play, a few characters. at least that's realistic now because the roster is small enough to where
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't take an absolutely ridiculous amount of time. But
Yeah, I was digging Capcom
oh
for a
yeah,
little bit when
Capcom's
they
fun.
were doing like Marvel vs. Capcom. That's like my jam. And also they did the Soul
Oh yeah,
Calibers
yeah, Capcom.
games.
Yeah, a lot of fun memories with
So
Capcom.
Capcom was doing some fun stuff for a while, but like I don't know what they're doing now. If they got like their head up their
I
ass or
mean,
something,
it
I
seems
don't
like
know.
they do a lot of collaborations with people too, like people using their characters in other games and stuff.
Oh yeah, and they also do the Resident Evil
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I forgot about that.
Capcom does, and I do like those games. And but a lot of people shitted on Resident Evil 6 because they were like, "Oh, it's too much of like action and not enough survival horror." But I mean, I guess that didn't
Yeah.
bother me.
Well, I mean, I feel like you the difference between you and those people is that you took the game for what it was. It wasn't trying to be like the other ones, and what it did, what it was
Yeah,
trying to be, it succeeded at that. And I guess people lost sight of that game isn't trying to be like those other games. So you should just see it for what it is, not what you want it to be. If you want a game like that, you should play a survival horror game because there's plenty of those, like exactly like that
yeah,
that you
that's
really
just
want to play.
exactly. That's just like that's another thing. That's a pet peeve of mine about things in general. It's just like all these shitheads that have been complaining because Game of Thrones came on last night and they're lost their fucking minds on the internet. I read the books. Fuck you. If you want the books to be like the books, read the fucking
Yeah,
books. Like this is the show.
exactly,
Like I
exactly.
that oh they're like oh my like they're almost as annoying as Star Wars
Yeah,
fans to me now because it's just like you constantly whine about every little change they make. It's an adaptation. Shut the hell up. Like I'm over the criticisms. I mean, I feel like things should be criticized, but the criticisms that they're complaining about are
well,
just dumb.
especially since George R. Martin works with them on certain things, and he basically made it pretty clear when he started setting up people to kind of do this is he would have meetings with them and he basically had to ask them questions to get his seal of approval. So I doubt he would back these people if he felt like they were being so ridiculous with his work that it would be offensive how out of how much it deviates from it. I feel like they're definitely getting a happy medium between book and making their own place
Yeah.
within the world. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
agree with you in the sense that if you like the books so much, just
Yeah.
fucking read the books then if the if
Exactly.
the show
That's
isn't to your liking.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Especially since like if you hated the show so much, watching is giving it money. So you get giving them more money to do what they want. So I mean the biggest fuck you could give to them is to stop watching.
like, yeah, I don't understand why you watch the show and then shit on it every week. Like that seems like a horrible thing to do to yourself. Like why would you if this show is so horrible, why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll see you later.
Okay, thanks for listening, and we're gonna continue this in part two.
Hell yeah, bitches.
Cool.
Bye.